Would you like to be able to control the budget of each individual job? Well, then you need to thoroughly watch this video, QuickBooks Online for Contractors, Budget by Job. If you have any questions about this topic, you can leave them in the comments section below and I'll do my best to help you. And of course, if you feel the video helped you, I hope you will click like and don't forget to subscribe to get updates on new videos that come out all the time. The budget feature in QuickBooks Online is a very simple tool to use. It's simply a data sheet that remembers the amounts of each expense or other account that you input into the data sheet as the budgeted amounts. After putting in the amounts, simply run the report called Budget versus Actual, and you will see all the differences between the budgeted amounts and the actual transactions. You can change any budgeted amount or any actual transaction, and the budget versus actual report for that specific budget will reflect the change immediately. All you have to do is rerun the report for the updated numbers. So, if you reopen the budget and change a specific budgeted amount, and then you run the report will change immediately and show you the difference between budgeted and actual based on that change. In fact, even if you change the actual transaction and then after changing the transaction for the time period of the budget, you reopen the report, still the reports will change immediately to reflect the difference between the budgeted versus the actual. Now, just for this video, I made these extra accounts to make them easier to see when we get to the budget window. All I did was change some names and add some accounts to the cost of goods sold section of the budget so that we can stay at the top of the window and things will be a little more clear. If you like, you can pause the video at this moment and enter these accounts in this way so that you can follow along step by step. But you don't have to, because the demonstration will be pretty easy to know what to do in your own account if you see how the budget tool works. So then the question is, how are budgets saved in QuickBooks Online? Well, each budget is simply a data set that you can reopen and change. You can have several budgets for each fiscal year. The time intervals for each budget that you make can be monthly, quarterly, or yearly. And you can make as many budgets as needed by any time interval, per fiscal year, per job. And then once you make a budget, all budgets will be on the budget list for you to change or remove anytime you want. For example, let's make a monthly budget for the Southwoods Road job for the expenses for January of 2022. We go to the top right and we click the cog wheel. We go over to Tools and go down to Budgeting. Of course, if it's the very first time we're opening this particular window, we get this screen and we have to click Add Budget. Now, the budget doesn't exist until we give it a name and then click Next in the bottom right here. So I'll squash this a little. But what we want is this particular thing, Southwoods Road job, January of 2022. So we have to make sure that we choose the fiscal year 2022 and the intervals are monthly. Monthly, because we want specifically for January of 2022. And let's name it SWR for Southwoods Road, Jan 2022. Now, All we have to do is then choose how we're going to subdivide. We're going to subdivide by customer because customer is job, and we're going to click here and choose specifically the Kirschbaum Southwoods Road job that we're working on. Click this, and then we click next. Now we have the opportunity to put in all the budgeted amounts for that particular job for that particular fiscal year in the column of month. So let's scroll down and let's go ahead and put in the numbers that I set up just for example. So the fiscal year 2022 by month just for Southwoods Road. And let's imagine these are the budgeted amounts. 800, 700, 600, 500, 400. Should be pretty easy to put in, right? So we go 800 in the January column, 700, 600, 500, 400, and well, let's just double check that. There we go. Good. And now all we have to do is click Save. And when we click the X in the top right, you can't quite see it here. I'll squash it down. See this X? Now that we've already saved this with this name, when we click X, we go back to the list of budgets, like I mentioned. And right now, there's only one budget on the list. But you can make as many budgets as you like for each fiscal year. And then within each fiscal year, they can each be subdivided differently by month or quarter and subdivided for each particular job. You could always edit the budget. You could delete. But most importantly, you can run budget versus actual. Now, of course, we don't have any transactions in the time period in which we did the budget. But let's go ahead and check the budget versus actual reports before recording actual transactions and see what happens. We click the pull down for this budget and we run budgets versus actual reports. Now, notice what it shows you. It shows you for specifically the Kirschbaum job. Here we are in the expense section down here. Right now, we're extremely under budget. You see, because these were the budgeted amounts and we did not have any actual transactions. So a negative number in the amount of over budget means that we are under budget. And the percent difference is 0 because it's, we're under budget rather than over. But the good news is what we can do is we can enter actual transactions for that time period and then reopen the budget report and see what happens. So if you like, you can pause the video and enter these two. I'm going to pause the video and enter a $1,300 delivery for January 5th for Southwoods Road paid to UPS. And I'm going to enter a January 10th $300 repair job to the same Southwoods Road, just because I don't want to waste time on video and we already know how to enter these things. But if you pause the video to enter them, make sure you're entering the right date and amount so it goes into the right section of the budget in order to properly compare budget versus actual. So I'm pausing the video now and entering these two. And now that we've both had a chance to enter both of these transactions, let's go ahead and open the budget versus actual report and see what it would look like. We click from the pull down for the specific budget that we just made. We click Run Budgets versus Actual. Now, of course, we have to scroll down to the section that we're looking at and scroll to the right until we get to the Kirschbaum Southwoods Road job. Now, here we are. These are the budgeted amounts, and these are the budgeted amounts because this is the budget column, but in the actual column we have $1,300 for delivery, only $700 was budgeted. We're over budget. See the over budget column is $600, and the budget is at $185.50 9.71%. Same thing with repair expense, except the opposite. Repair expense is under budget by 200, which means we've only used 60% of the budgeted amount. Now, just to really understand this, let's change the budgeted amount of repairs to 100 and see what happens. We have to go back to the budget itself, click the cog wheel, budgeting, and we have to find the budget. In this case, there's only one on the list, so we click edit, and we have to go down to our repair expense account, and we have to change it to 100. Now, when we click save in the bottom right, the changes are saved. So when we close the budget window and go back to the list and run budget versus actual, after scrolling down to the expenses we're looking at and scrolling to the right to get the Kirschbaum job, you can see that now repair expense, you see the budgeted amount changed to 100. The actual was 300. So now you're 200 over budget and you're at 300% of the budget. So it doesn't matter if you change the budgeted amounts or the actual transactions. When you reopen the report, the numbers will fix accordingly. And this gives you total control over each budget for each job. You can learn everything you need in QuickBooks regarding contractor features by watching the full playlist that this video is a part of. You can just click the link in the comment field or under the first paragraph in the description field, and there's also links in the top right of the video as it plays.